After 3 heartbreaking years, she surprised everyone by kissing a stranger, uncovering and amazing. The world felt heavy on Sarah's shoulders as she trudged home after another grueling 12-hour shift at the hospital. Her body ached, each muscle taut like the string of a finely tuned guitar. But far worse than the physical toll was the emotional weight dragging her down. The moment she stepped into her modest home, the silence screamed at her. It was the laughter of Tommy she missed the most, his innocent giggles echoing through the halls just 3 years ago, when life felt whole. Now she was the ghost of a happy mother, haunted by the bittersweet remnants of her late husband's love. That evening, dinner was a sad affair. A dried-out piece of chicken sat forlornly on the table beside a half-hearted attempt at mashed potatoes. Tommy pushed the food around on his plate, his eyes glassy, popping in stark contrast to the vibrant boy he once was. Frustration bubbled within Sarah, but nothing compared to the guilt. Why couldn't she muster the energy to make it better for him? Was this all there was to her now? Clinging to routines that served as constant reminders of what they'd lost? A flicker of hope ignited in her, whispering of escape. She slipped on a cardigan over her scrubs and headed out the door, the cool evening air welcoming her like an old friend. Just one drink, she promised herself, just one night where she could forget. The bar was buzzing with laughter and chatter, the familiar faces of the townsfolk swirling together in a sea of noise that felt both suffocating and exhilarating. For a moment, hope lifted her spirit. She grabbed a seat at the bar, nursing a drink while trying to drown her memories, but they clung to her like an old sweater. Then she saw him, Mark, a captivating stranger with a smile that melted her defenses. Each laugh shared felt like an avalanche of warmth crashing against her aching heart, thawing layers of ice that had formed since her husband's death. But as the night unfolded, the conversation veered dangerously close to her past. Sarah's heart raced when Mark revealed that he had known her husband in college, the familiarity of their shared history knotting her stomach. It was a detail that sent her spiraling. Was she celebrating a chance at happiness, or was she merely a moth drawn to the flame of tragedy? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Mark's eyes held a depth of understanding she hadn't encountered in years. As she listened to her tales, she felt herself drawn to him, yet her heart bled, not only with hope, but with fear. The guilt of betrayal seeped in. How could she move towards something new while her heart still bore the scars of the past? Everything felt tangled. The memory of her husband wrapped around her like a vine, creeping up the side of her spirit. Could she allow herself to love again? A mere kiss might shatter the fragile balancing act she had achieved, a dance between mourning and moving forward. Under the neon lights, the moment thickened, crackling with unspoken words, sparks igniting in the air as she leaned closer, uncertainty swirling in her chest. Would this be the start of something beautiful, or a painful reminder of what she had lost? With her heart in turmoil, Sarah was suspended between two worlds, desperately trying to unravel the threads of her love and loss. As their lips inched closer, everything stilled, leaving only the question, could she let go? The kiss was tentative at first, almost a whisper against her lips. But as the warmth of Mark's mouth melted the lingering chill of despair, something deep within Sarah stirred. It was as if the kiss was a key, unlocking a door she had long kept bolted shut. She felt the floodgates of emotion swell, memories mingling with sensations, happiness juxtaposed against the backdrop of pain. But just as quickly as it began, the kiss ended and reality came rushing back. A thrill had surged through her, but the weight of her past crashed down like a heavy fog. Sarah's eyes snapped open, panic setting in. She pulled away, her breath coming in uneven gasps. A flurry of thoughts collided in her mind. What was she doing? Could she betray Tommy's memory like this? Mark, noticing the sudden withdrawal, searched her eyes with concern. "Sarah, are you okay?" "Yeah, I need some air." The words tumbled out awkwardly, and she pushed herself off the bar stool, her legs unsteady. The cool night wrapped around her, but it offered no comfort. Each step felt harder as she wandered away from the bar, the laughter now a cacophony that felt distant yet suffocating. Outside, the moon cast a silvery light over the streets, and Sarah stood still, grappling with the storm inside. She had always been the caregiver, the one who made decisions for others, but now she felt lost, adrift in a sea of conflicting emotions. Her hands shook as she leaned against a lamppost, the frigid metal a grounding sensation against the chaos of her thoughts. What did she want? Did she dare to hope for love again? As she closed her eyes, fragments of her life flashed before her. Tommy's laughter, the warmth of her husband's embrace, and the dull ache of unfulfilled dreams. Clarity began to emerge from the tumult, pushing aside the fog. Deep down, Sarah recognized a truth she had buried for too long. She deserved happiness too. Life was mercurial, and those precious moments of joy could not be eclipsed by fear alone. It was time to confront the shadows that haunted her. With a newfound resolve, she straightened her posture, willing to shed her guilt like an old skin. She would not dim her light for the sake of the past. But could she muster the courage to explore what lay ahead? Turning on her heel, determination sparked anew. Sarah marched back inside, the thumping bass and vibrant conversations welcoming her back into the fold. Mark had remained close. She could see him at the bar, his expression a mix of concern and curiosity. Taking a deep breath, she approached him, her heart steadying as she prepared to speak. "Mark," she began, her voice stronger than she felt, I don't want to run away from this." His brows furrowed, a smile creeping back as he leaned forward. "Then let's not. Talk to me." As they resumed their conversation, amidst laughter and the soft glow of the bar, the remnants of her past still hovered, but they were no longer shackles. They became a backdrop for the future. Sarah was ready to face the unknown, to embrace the possibilities that lay within her reach. But just when she thought she could breathe, her phone buzzed violently in her pocket. She pulled it out, and her heart sank as she read the message. Tommy needed her. Something had happened at home. Without another word, she turned away from Mark, stepping into a world where unexpected choices demanded her immediate attention. The night loomed large ahead of her, filled with uncertainty. As she raced towards home, adrenaline surged through her veins. What awaited her would require her courage more than ever before. With every step she took, she realized the truth. Understanding her heart would mean confronting not just loss, but what it truly meant to live again. The door to personal transformation was wide open, but much lay on the other side. Whatever awaited would test her resolve in ways she had never imagined. The moment of truth was approaching. Could she prove to herself that she was worthy of more? Sarah's heart raced as she sprinted towards her home, each thud of her heart echoing the urgency of the situation ahead. The message had offered no details, only a sense of panic that gripped her tighter with every passing second. Tommy needed her, and despite the hesitations that clouded her heart, she couldn't ignore the call of responsibility woven deeply into her psyche. As she reached her doorstep, she felt a wave of familiarity. The doorway felt like a portal to the past, steeped in the memories of a life that was once vibrant but now felt suspended in a state of limbo, a constant tug-of-war between grief and the beckoning of new beginnings. Taking a deep breath, she pushed the door open to reveal the muted ambiance of her own home. The living room was dimly lit, shadows dancing across the walls, each flickering light a reminder of both joy and sorrow. She stepped inside, her senses heightened, scanning for Tommy's familiar silhouette amid the silence. Was he all right? Sarah? The soft whisper came from the hallway, accompanied by the sound of a chair scraping against the floor. There he was, her younger brother, looking up at her with eyes swimming in confusion and a hint of guilt. "Tommy, what happened?" she urged, her voice a mix of panic and instinctive concern. A hesitant sigh escaped him as he ran a hand through his tousled hair. I broke something in the attic. It was my fault. I just wanted to take a look, and now Mom and Dad are mad." For a fleeting moment, Sarah felt the weight of disappointment settle over her. She had hoped for something more serious, something that would require her immediate protective instincts. But as she looked into Tommy's distressed face, she realized this moment, this small confrontation, was just as important. He was reaching out, needing her guidance, just like he always had. "Let's go take a look," she said softly, her heart adjusting to the reality surrounding her brother. As they ascended the staircase, she felt the walls close in slightly, the familiar scent of old wood and paper wrapping around her like an embrace. The attic door creaked open, revealing a small patch of light that danced over boxes and forgotten treasures. Tommy moved cautiously, and Sarah could see he was anxious, oscillating between guilt and fear. "Sometime I feel like I'm just a burden," Tommy confessed, his voice barely breaking through the stillness. "You're not a burden, Tommy," she replied firmly, her eyes meeting his. "You are a part of this family, and we face our troubles together, always." But in her heart, she recognized the deeper truth she had skirted around. For too long, she had carried the weight of the past alone, often forgetting that her strength also resided in trusting others. As they worked together to clean the attic, a hidden drawer caught her eye, a relic from their childhood. Inside was a tattered scrapbook, remnants of simpler days sprawled across the pages, capturing smiles, adventures, laughter. Flipping through the book, nostalgia washed over her, soothing the jagged edges of her heart. She paused at a page and began to recount stories from their youth, her emotions threading through every memory. It wasn't just about the past anymore. It was a reminder of resilience and connection. With each anecdote, she sensed the shadows of worry lifting from Tommy's shoulders. They laughed, and for the first time in months, her heart felt lighter. But just as the laughter bubbled up inside, a memory of Mark surged forward, his expression lingering in her mind. What were the boundaries of moving on? Did healing mean completely letting go of the past, or could it coexist alongside her new reality? As she wrestled with these questions, the attic had transformed into more than a space filled with relics. It became a pivotal juncture in her journey, a bridge between who she was and who she could become. "Hey, do you think we can fix this?" Tommy asked, pointing to the broken item. She nodded, ready to tackle this challenge. Perhaps, she realized, the journey ahead would not be so lonely after all. The uncertainty loomed as ever, but she was prepared to embrace every fragment with courage. That night, as they fell back downstairs, her phone buzzed once more. Mark had texted. There was an invitation for dinner, a chance to explore where their connection could lead. Her heart quickened, not with trepidation, but with hope. Uncertainty lingered, but as she glanced at Tommy, her brother in arms, she felt a shift within herself. She wasn't just worthy of more, she was ready for it. The moment was ripe for a decision that could redefine everything. Could she step forward, not just for herself, but for those she loved? What awaited her now felt monumental, and she was determined to find out. She stood at the kitchen table, her thoughts racing as she pondered Mark's text. Dinner. It was a world of possibilities. Her heart thumped, instilling a sense of urgency as she thought about what could unfold there. This was more than just a casual meal. It felt like a test of her willingness to step beyond the shadow of her past. Tommy's voice broke through her reflections. "Do you think Mom and Dad will be mad?" he asked, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. The remnants of their earlier laughter faded into the silence that hung in the kitchen. "Maybe, but they'll also understand. Everyone makes mistakes, right?" she answered, trying to provide the support he needed. "Let's talk to them together later." "Yeah, okay," Tommy replied, but he still looked unsure. Sarah realized that to guide him through his uncertainty, she first needed to conquer her own. Before she could overthink it, she grabbed her phone and replied to Mark, agreeing to meet. The moment she hit send, an inexplicable surge of excitement buzzed under her skin. Was she really ready to dive back into a world filled with unpredictability? It was daunting, yet exhilarating. As the sun began to set, casting a warm glow through the windows, she prepared herself for the evening. Each step she took, a change in her hair, the clothes she chose, symbolized a subtle shedding of her former self. She was becoming more than just the caretaker of her family. She could be Sarah again, the individual who had spent years under the weight of loss and obligation. She approached the dinner with an open heart, but doubt lingered, lurking beneath the surface. Would she know how to interact? The mere thought of vulnerability felt alien after all this time. Would she even recognize herself in the mirror's reflection? These questions haunted her thoughts. As she stepped into the restaurant, the atmosphere enveloped her, a blend of laughter, clinking glasses, and the rich aroma of food. Mark was already seated at a table by the window, his warm smile greeting her like an invitation. He had a way of making the mundane feel extraordinary. "Hi, I'm glad you came," he said, standing as she approached. The sincerity in his voice encouraged her. This evening didn't have to resemble her past or redeliver the pain. She could redefine it. "I'm glad too," she replied, collecting herself as she sat down. The conversation started easily, with light-hearted banter that flowed naturally. It was refreshing to connect without the weight of history pressing down. Yet, alongside their conversation sat an undercurrent of apprehension. As they delved deeper into personal anecdotes, Sarah's past whispered reminders of what she'd lost. The ache of Mark's absence panged in her chest. Could she draw a line between the past and the present? Her internal conflict brewed just beneath the surface. Could she be open to this opportunity without betraying the memory of those she lost? What if she allowed her heart to break open only to find it wasn't ready to heal? Suddenly, Mark leaned closer, his eyes searching hers. "What are you thinking about?" he asked, drawing her focus back to the present moment. She had a choice to make. Did she retreat into the safety of guarded walls, or did she unveil the layers of fear that suffocated her? The pressure held a warmth, a feeling of being seen, and the decision hung like an invitation in the air. It's okay to be scared, but I'm ready to try," Sarah finally uttered, her voice steady despite the flutter of vulnerability. His smile widened, radiating assurance that this moment was theirs. Trying's the first step, right? The atmosphere crackled with unspoken potential. It wasn't just about the dinner. It was the beginning of discovering who she could be without the shackles of grief clinging to her. But somewhere deep within, a tiny voice echoed that she had more to confront. The night rolled on, laughter mingling with their shared hopes, and for the first time, Sarah began to imagine a future unhindered by regrets. But before she could fully immerse herself in this new chapter, an unexpected text blipped on her phone, capturing her attention. It was from an unknown number, and the message struck her like a jolt. "We need to talk. It's important." A knot tightened in her stomach. Life wasn't done with its surprises just yet. and Sarah understood she was far from finished confronting the past and cultivating her future. What did this new message mean? And would confronting it derail her fragile progress? Questions loomed in her mind as the urge to explore this disruption battled with her resolve to embrace the potential ahead. Would she dare to confront whatever awaited her while standing on the cusp of rediscovering herself? The tension was palpable, and Sarah felt both excitement and fear pull her in different directions. As Sarah sat across from Mark, the laughter and warmth of their conversation doing little to quell the uncertainty swirling in her mind, her phone buzzed again, pulling her focus completely. A glance at the screen revealed the same unknown number, a small distraction that morphed into a mounting concern. She had to confront it. Her heart raced, pounding in her chest like a message that had been long overdue. "Excuse me for a moment," she said, her voice steady, masking the whirlpool of emotions within as she stood up from the table. She walked toward a quieter corner of the restaurant, a stray thought nagging at her. Could she really juggle these two halves of her life? The message flashed again, demanding her attention. "We need to talk. It's important." The lack of context was suffocating. It felt like the invitation to all her fears wrapped up in one vague sentence. With a deep breath, she opened the message, her mind racing with possibilities. Before she could allow anxiety to take over, she resolved to confront the unknown with the same tenacity she had shown in stepping toward Mark. With trembling fingers, she typed back, "Who is this?" Each moment spent waiting for a response felt extracted from her own personal growth. She had learned over the years to face her demons. Each conversation with her parents, each small step toward independence was a testament to her progress. But what was this? The past creeping back into her present? A quick reply pinged back. "It's Alex. We need to settle things about Dad's affairs." The mention of her father tightened her gut. So much hurt resided in that aspect of her life. Alex, her father's longtime partner, was always an oscillating figure, embodying both support and a reminder of everything Sarah had lost. Confronting him now, when she had finally begun to reclaim parts of herself in front of Mark, felt like asking to peel open an old wound. Yet, there was a dawning realization. She had successfully navigated through darkness before. Could this be another crucial opportunity for her to assert control over her narrative? To not just drift along, but to engage with her life, as daunting as that felt. She composed herself, forcing her heart to thud in rhythm with the determination setting in. "I'll meet you," she texted back. "Where and when?" As she returned to the table, an electric tension filled the air. Mark's expression shifted slightly, as if sensing her change in demeanor. He leaned forward, concern etched on his face. "Everything okay?" Taking a breath, Sarah reminded herself of her gains tonight. "I just have to face something else for a bit. I'll be back, I promise," she replied, a hint of bravado in her voice to mask the impending encounter with Alex. Mark nodded, though the warmth of their earlier connection dimmed slightly. She could see the flicker of worry in his eyes. Choosing to stand independent on the cusp of personal rediscovery added weight to her decisions. She realized every step she took toward her past rippled into her present, shaping who she wanted to be. As Sarah left the restaurant, her mind was fraught with images of her father's sober face, the unanswered questions swirling in the space between them all these years. How could she face Alex with a newfound confidence while still being entangled in the memories of tenderness and loss? She felt the balance shift under her feet, the lines between her past and her emerging self becoming blurred yet again. Could she truly confront the specters of grief and engage with them rather than allowing them to dictate her life? By the time she reached the designated cafe where Alex had suggested meeting, she steeled herself for the conversation ahead. Would this be just another vein of pain drilled into her? Or could this be a moment where she established borders, learning not just about her father's decisions, but also about her own? As she stepped inside, determination surged through her. The stakes felt monumental, the implications of this conversation potentially reshaping her relationship not only with Alex, but with herself, and how she saw her family's legacy. An unexpected twist loomed just beyond the horizon. Everything she had built could be torn down or fortified in a single discussion. The moment was upon her. It was time to find out. And as those thoughts flooded her mind, she saw Alex sitting at a small table, his face partially shadowed, an unreadable expression on his features. Would this be the moment of truth that would finally allow her to step into her own light? Or would it be another reminder of the dark corners she was desperate to escape? The moment Sarah stepped inside the cafe, the smell of freshly brewed coffee and baked goods wafted through the air, enveloping her in an oddly comforting embrace. It was a stark contrast to the weight hanging over her as she spotted Alex. Sitting alone, he appeared much older than she remembered, his hair streaked with gray, and an expression that suggested years of burden pressed onto his shoulders. Her heart raced not only from the anxiety of confronting him, but also from the sudden realization that this was more than just discussing her father's affairs. This meeting had the potential to redefine her perception of family and the complexities of love. As she approached the table, she noticed how Alex's eyes flickered up, finally meeting hers. "Sarah," he said, his voice lacking the warmth she had expected. "Thanks for coming." She nodded slightly, pushing back the flood of memories that threatened to overwhelm her. Faced with the embodiment of so much of her past, the loss, the confusion, she took a deep breath. "I didn't really have a choice, did I? It's about Dad. What do you want to discuss?" His expression softened, but only slightly. "I know this isn't easy for either of us. I didn't anticipate it would be this hard to talk after all this time." The tension weighed heavily in the room. She wanted to confront him about how his presence had complicated her memories, but for now it felt wiser to listen. A tiny part of her even wanted to learn from him, to sift through the debris of feelings and come out stronger. "I'm ready," she said with unexpected resolve. "You should know that I never intended to take Dad's place. It was a unique situation, and I tried to respect the boundaries." "But you were part of his life," she interjected, her emotions lifting the edge of her voice. "How can I reconcile that with everything that happened? Your presence and his choices are intertwined in ways that hurt me." Alex sighed, the frustration and hurt palpable. "I get that, but your father made choices too, choices that may not have seemed fair to you but were complicated, just like ours." The admission struck her, prompting a ball of anger to roll in her stomach. There it was, the undeniable truth that life was not set in straightforward terms. Could she forgive her father for who he was, for the choices he made while entwined with Alex? Or would she be forced to look at the past with unending sadness, shackling herself with resentment? "What do you want from me?" she asked, with surprising clarity. "Closure? An explanation?" "Both, maybe. But Sarah, I want you to find closure for yourself, too. It's not just about settling affairs. It's about understanding who your father was in relation to me, to remind you that you have a say in your own story, a crucial part of it." Each word landed heavily, echoing in her mind. The realization that the past was not just a collection of painful memories, but an intricate web of love, hurt, and complexity forced her to reconsider everything. Would urging herself to forgive lead her to heal? They shared silence for a moment, parsing through the emotional rubble of their conversation. Finally, Sarah spoke up. "You always told me that he loved me. Did he love you too?" A shadow crossed Alex's face, complicated and nuanced. "Yes, in his way, he did." The gravity of those words settled in her chest, intertwining grief and understanding. For the first time, she felt the possibility of retrieving parts of herself from the past while daring to honor the moments she had deemed irreparable. With that thought, a flicker of determination lit inside her. "I'm willing to hear it all, but I need you to be honest," she stated, emboldened by the groundwork she had laid throughout the years in her silent battles. As the cafe faded into the background, enveloped by conversations and clinking dishes, a newfound sense of empowerment soared through her. She was no longer just confronting the ghosts of her father's legacy. She was on a path to reclaim her narrative. She felt a fracture in her heart, a reminder that vulnerability didn't equate weakness, but instead could pave the road to self-discovery. She'd stride into this conversation ready to wrestle with uncomfortable truths and emerge on the other side not just as a daughter, but as a woman who determined her own legacy. And with that sentiment still alight, Sarah wondered, could this be where she finally untangled the bond between pain and closure? As Alex leaned forward, his voice steady with hesitance, she thought maybe, just maybe, she would find the courageous answer she had been seeking the whole time. In that charged moment, the stakes felt higher than ever. Would the painful revelations set her free, or would they bind her tighter to the inevitable memories of loss? Sarah sat across from Alex, the flickering candlelight illuminating the lines of worry etched on her face. The weight of their conversation loomed heavy between them, and she felt the fracturing resolve that had built up within her begin to settle into a deeper, more contemplative state. As she prepared herself to delve into the memories that haunted her, she realized this wasn't just a confrontation, it was a chance to reclaim her story. "I need to understand how everything fits together," she urged, her voice steady yet laced with the tremors of anxiety. "The love, the choices, the pain, how do we untangle it?" Alex took a moment, collecting his thoughts. The shadow that had crossed his face earlier returned, but this time with an urgency. "Your father and I, we shared a connection, sure, but it wasn't simple. There were times I felt trapped, just as much as you might feel right now." Trapped? The word struck her like a thunderclap, awakening something inside her that she hadn't realized was dormant. The complexity of adult relationships, the unyielding pressures of societal expectations, and how they could warp love into something unrecognizable. Yes, he had his commitments and I had mine. The love we had was a secret, a salve, but it was also a curse. "I wish I could change the past, but," he faltered, desperation creeping into his voice. "It just happened, and we made choices that we thought were right at the time, at least for us." Infuriating, but also insightful. As Alex spoke, she felt the pieces of her father's life clicking into place, but it also highlighted the great divide between ideals and reality. So love can be a burden? Yes, sometimes, just like it can be the source of your strength, he replied, meeting her gaze. A new resolve coursed through her. She realized that despite her father's flaws, despite Alex's role in her chaotic family history, she wasn't simply an observer. She could be the architect of her life, a life not defined by past secrets, but illuminated by new truths. "What if I told you I don't need to define it all right now? That simply understanding the complexity of our loves and losses is a step," she proposed, a surge of clarity punctuating her words. Alex's brows knitted together as she pressed on. "What if I chose to accept my father for his complexities rather than condemn him? What if I decide to be okay with the mess?" Alex's expression slowly transformed, his eyes softening with a hint of pride. "That's a huge leap, Sarah, a brave one." "I need to be more than a daughter consumed by resentment," she said. "I want to become someone who understands that love comes with baggage, and sometimes it's our job to sort through it ourselves." There was a thrill in her declaration, a spark that made her feel more alive than she had felt in years. The air around them shifted, bringing a sense of liberation she hadn't anticipated. While they were entwined in a difficult discussion, Sarah felt the weight of burdens start to lift. Even as the conversation pressed on, she became aware of the toll their dialogue had taken, nudging her toward an important realization. She had the power to forgive. "Tell me about the good moments, the love that was worthy of celebration, even if it ended in pain," she challenged, a newfound strength enveloping her words. With her heart racing, she opened the door to exploration, not just with Alex, but within herself. As he began to recount the smaller, poignant memories of her father's laughter, their shared experiences carved a path to understanding. Gradually, the vivid images of a complicated, human love emerged, reflecting in the newfound clarity in her own heart. But a deeper tension still loomed. Would the warmth of these past connections be enough to shield her from future heartbreak? As they dug further, Sarah's mind raced, contemplating how to disassociate from the past and carve out her own path. A thought nagged at her. The reality of re-embracing love after trauma was fraught with uncharted territory, but it could lead to forging her own connections. What does my future look like when I let go of these burdens? As she posed the question, a quiet yet determined resolution coalesced. Perhaps the answer would hinge not just on understanding her father's legacy, but on how she was willing to shape her own. With her heart full, yet pulsing with uncertainty, she dared to glance toward the future, a horizon still shrouded in fog, but brimming with potential. And just as the warmth of possibility enveloped her, a shadow flickered across her mind. What if forging her own path meant confronting more than just her father's legacy? What if it required facing secrets long buried within her, those she had yet to unravel but knew still haunted her? The moment of truth was approaching, a line drawn in the sand, and she could only wonder what lay ahead on the other side. The days that followed her conversation with Alex began weaving a tapestry of clarity and determination for Sarah. Each morning greeted her with a renewed sense of purpose. With the fog of her past slowly lifting, she could finally breathe, envisioning the landscape of her future, not as a battleground of unresolved hatred, but as a fertile ground for growth. In the quiet of her thoughts, she made a plan. She would embark on a journey of self-discovery that transcended mere understanding of her father's complicated legacy. She wished to tap into the strength hidden within her, masked by bitterness and confusion. For the first time, she contemplated the idea of pursuing therapy, envisioning a space where she could unpack the layers of her past, an initiative to equip herself with tools not just to cope, but to thrive. As she signed up for her first session online, a flurry of doubts surged within her. Would she be able to confront those long-buried secrets? Would unearthing them bring about healing or agonizing pain? Yet, in that moment of hesitation, she remembered Alex's words about love and its burdens. If she could learn to accept her father, perhaps she could extend that compassion toward herself. This morning, she decided to take a different route to work, letting instinct guide her down streets less traversed. As she wandered aimlessly, she stumbled upon a charming little bookstore, its vibrant facade adorned with literary quotes. The scent of old pages in the air ignited a nostalgic yearning within her. Sarah stepped inside, allowing herself to be enveloped in the comfort of stories waiting to be discovered. Browsing the aisles, she caught sight of a book titled Reclaiming Self. The title resonated deeply. She could almost feel it beckoning her. After flipping through a few pages, she decided to buy it, intuitively sensing it might serve as a catalyst for the transformation she craved. As she exited the bookstore, the sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over everything. She took a moment to revel in that fleeting beauty and pondered what other adventures awaited her. It was high time she began pushing her boundaries. She wanted to venture beyond the constraints of her past, to experience life unfiltered by fear and doubt. Later that evening, Sarah sat with her newly acquired book at a small cafe. The ambiance was bustling, vibrant conversations swirling around her. Though she briefly sank back into the familiar anxiety of feeling out of place, she quickly harnessed the strength she had unearthed. What would it feel like, she mused to herself, to engage with someone new without the armor of my past? As she sipped her coffee and became engrossed in the book, her surroundings began to fade away. An unfamiliar voice snapped her attention back. "Excuse me, is that seat taken?" Looking up, she found herself staring into the warm, inviting eyes of a stranger, an intriguing smile playing on his lips. What if this moment is exactly what I needed? The thought flitted through her mind. After the emotional upheaval of the last few weeks, the idea of spontaneity felt exhilarating. "No, please sit down," Sarah responded, her heart racing with equal parts excitement and nervousness. The stranger introduced himself as Daniel, and as they began to converse, Sarah marveled at the easy flow of their dialogue. For the first time, she felt a flicker of something she had thought lost, a connection rooted in genuine curiosity rather than obligation or fear. Here was a reminder that life could still lead her to unexpected encounters filled with warmth and possibility. Yet, as their conversation deepened and her laughter flowed, a familiar specter whispered in the recesses of her mind. This moment was precious, but vulnerability loomed in the shadows. "Can I truly open myself to the potential of something new?" she questioned silently, the thrill mingling with an echo of doubt. That question hung in the air, electrifying the conversation as her heart raced with anticipation, a stark contrast to the hesitance gnawing at her. Every decision felt monumental, and she was standing at the precipice of another choice. What if this connection was the door she needed to step through? And what if stepping through meant confronting not just her relationship with her father, but also the latent fears she had kept hidden? The possibilities danced between them, igniting a spark within Sarah that begged to be explored further. Could she transform fear into strength once more? And so, as her heart quivered with a budding hope, she could only wonder what lay ahead. What truths awaited her, and how far she was willing to go to embrace the love waiting just beyond her fears. Would she choose to take this leap into the unknown, embarking on a journey that could redefine the very essence of her being? Sarah's heart raced as Daniel smiled at her, the ambiance of the cafe fading into an indistinct blur. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, interspersed with laughter and shared stories. But the undercurrent of her doubts simmered beneath the surface, threatening to interrupt her fragile newfound connection. Part of her longed to retreat, to shield herself from the vulnerability that soared when she was near him. Yet, there was an unspoken challenge lingering in her mind, a push to embrace the moment. "What do you do?" Daniel asked, his curiosity evident. It was the perfect opportunity to peel back another layer of herself. "I work in marketing," she replied, gauging his reaction. "But I've been thinking a lot about what else I might want to do." "Like what?" His eyes sparkled with genuine interest. Sarah hesitated. The truth was that her life felt like it had been edited down to bullet points, stripped of creativity. "I've always loved writing, but it feels like a dream, a luxury I can't afford." "Writing can't be just a dream," he challenged gently, leaving her stunned by the directness of his response. "You deserve more than bullet points. What's stopping you?" His question struck at her core, a direct confrontation with her deepest fears. "Self-doubt, I suppose," she managed, eyebrows knit in contemplation. "And the fear of failure." "Failure is just a step on the way to success," he encouraged. And something inside Sarah flickered. She had spent years security bolting her heart against failure since her father's legacy loomed large over her. What if this was the moment she broke free? The conversation shifted as she probed deeper, asking about his passions and the multifaceted roads he had taken. The stories he shared excited her. They were a tapestry of risk and discovery. As he spoke, she recognized a mirror reflecting her own uncharted desires, those yearning to be expressed despite her apprehensions. "Maybe I could journal again," she whispered, the idea sending tingles down her spine. "Document my thoughts and feelings. It wouldn't be for anyone else, just me. Why not take a class? There's power in sharing your voice, even if it's just a single page at a time." Daniel's encouragement unraveled another thread of her tightly wound insecurities. The idea of putting her words on paper felt simultaneously exhilarating and terrifying. What if, after all these years, confronting her past through writing opened up doors she thought were forever sealed? Sarah's laughter rang in the air, buoyed by Daniel's infectious energy. They shared dreams and fears, moments of silence stretching comfortably between them as thoughts deepened. Each moment of connection was a deliberate choice, a step toward letting go of her past while leaning into her future. Yet as their conversation neared its end, the doubt returned like an old friend. Would it all dissipate as easily as it had begun? "How do I keep this momentum?" she thought, an urgent question echoing in her mind. Before parting ways, Daniel slid a piece of paper across the table. "It's my number, just in case you want to talk more about that writing class or share your progress." Looking down at the number, a wave of elation washed over her. He believed in her potential. But with it came a sobering thought. "What is my next move?" she questioned as they exchanged goodbyes, a part of her almost fearful to reach out. As Sarah stepped outside, twilight settling softly, she felt an unfamiliar mix of exhilaration and trepidation. The first thrumming notes of possibility reverberated around her. Could a simple connection ignite a path forward? Could she nurture both her desires and fears synchronously, overcoming the ghosts that haunted her? In that moment, clarity struck. The choice to engage fully with her life, writing, confronting her past, connecting with Daniel, was hers alone to make. She didn't need to navigate this journey perfectly. She just needed to start somewhere beyond the limits she had imposed upon herself. And yet, the question remained, leaving her on the cusp of discovery. If she dared to embrace not just her words, but the rawness of her emotions, would it lead her deeper into the very heart of her being, or push her away once more? With resolve blooming within her, she knew it was time to act. What awaited her at the intersection of fear and courage? The answer felt tantalizingly close. The sun rose, casting soft light through Sarah's bedroom window, igniting a fire within her. The prior day's conversations with Daniel weighed heavily in her mind, offering renewed motivation. She sat up in bed, her journal awaiting her, a blank canvas set for the vibrant strokes of her unfiltered thoughts and emotions. Today wasn't just any day. It marked the commencement of her dedicated journey into writing, a passion obscured for far too long by grief and self-doubt. She reached for her pen, feeling the coolness of the metal as it rested in her fingers, a tangible reminder of her choice to reclaim her voice. As she flipped to the first page, sentiment swelled within her, a mix of trepidation and exhilaration of unfurling herself anew. "The journey to self-rediscovery begins now," she wrote, gracefully forming letters that echoed her commitment. What would she write about first? The loss of her father? The complexities of embracing hope again? What if she explored her evolving relationship with Mark and Daniel, using their presence to shape her narrative instead of overshadow it? With each sentence crafted, she felt feelings formerly penned in silence shift to the forefront. They transformed into words, flowing like water from her heart to the page, spanning across memories of laughter and love, holding the bittersweet weight of her past while entwining it with the promise of tomorrow. The hours slipped by unnoticed, a rhythm enforcing itself through the written word, until her stomach grumbled, reminding her of life's mundane yet grounding realities. Still, she felt detached from the weight of her responsibilities. For the first time, her need for self-exploration outweighed everything that had once constrained her, an intoxicating prospect. That afternoon, Sarah ventured to the local library, a sanctuary steeped in stories that echoed her desire for change. While her mind buzzed with the reflections forged through writing, she sought resources that would bolster her growth as a writer. As she perused the aisles, pausing to reflect on titles promising guidance and inspiration, she felt a surge of confidence welling within her. This place could fortify her impending transformation. "Excuse me," a soft voice broke her concentration. It was a librarian, older and with kind eyes that sparkled with warmth. "I overheard you mentioning you might want to take a writing class. We have workshops, and I can share some recommendations if you'd like." "Really?" The surprise laced her response. It felt serendipitous, a chance from the universe to nurture her budding passion. "Absolutely! It's always inspiring to witness people embrace their creativity." The librarian's enthusiasm resonated. "Writing classes can be incredibly transformative. Would you prefer fiction, personal reflection, or poetry?" Each option bore potential for exploration. "So many choices," Sarah mused, recognizing the magnitude of stepping toward her aspirations. "I think I'd like to start with personal reflection." "That's a wise choice," the librarian responded, her smile encouraging. "Nothing is more powerful than your own voice and story. Let's get you signed up." A sense of clarity washed over Sarah, refreshing her nerves. Spirit like a gentle rain revitalizes parched earth. This was the moment she had been waiting for, a concrete step toward a future rich with possibility. Days blended into a week filled with writing, classes, and spontaneous outings with Daniel, each one enriching her experience. In the mornings, she would lose herself in words, and in the evenings, laughter with Daniel brought color back to her world. Together, they shared coffee, inspirations, and dreams, their connection deepening as they unearthed facets of their lives through poignant dialogues. However, lurking among the joy, echoes of doubt still resided, though fainter now. She began to share pieces of her writing with Daniel, seeking his honest feedback in the safe space he didn't realize he was creating for her. Each critique strengthened her resolve. She was becoming a writer, not just a person who longed to write. Then, one crisp evening while nestled among the twinkling lights of an outdoor market, the conversation shifted to their families. Daniel's words became an open invitation to explore her own feelings about her father. "How do you feel about the legacy he left?" he inquired gently, his gaze steady and knowing, free from judgment. In that moment, she felt the weight not as a burden, but as a responsibility, one she could share, articulate, and ultimately release. It was time she intertwined her story with courage. "What if," she began, her heartbeat quickening, "his complexities defined the man he was, rather than just the choices we labeled as mistakes? What if I could learn to cherish those parts of him without losing myself?" Daniel nodded, leaning forward with an understanding that nurtured her courage. "You have the power to redefine your narrative, not just by forgiving him, but by understanding all the facets of his character." What a revelation it was! She had the ability to reshape her perspective, her feelings folding into an intricate tapestry of love, grief, pain, and resilience. The insidious fear of vulnerability began to dissolve, allowing hope to fill its place. As Sarah continued to cultivate her writing practice, an unexpected surge of confidence emerged. She smiled at the prospect of sharing her story, not just with family, but with readers who could see reflections of their own struggles within her words. The realization that her pain could foster connections invigorated her further. Her journey was not solely personal. It bore the sacred weight of universality. Months passed, and Sarah's writing blossomed, bolstered by living truths she embraced. Eventually, she submitted her first short piece to a local publication. As the days stretched on while she waited for a response, Daniel stood steadfastly beside her throughout the anxiety, consistently reminding her that this was merely a stepping stone, part of a much larger journey. Then the letter arrived, a simple envelope with her name scrawled across it. Trembling with anticipation, she opened it to find acceptance, the first affirmation that her words indeed resonated. With tears in her eyes, Sarah held the letter to her chest, the sweet relief washing over her felt like embracing a long-lost friend. In that moment, she recognized something beautiful. This triumph was not merely about being published, it was a striking validation of her worth, the transformation she had long pursued. In time, she ventured deeper into the writing community, weaving bonds with others who shared similar passions, nurturing friendships that uplifted and challenged her. Each story exchanged was a celebration of journeying through shared experiences. But lingering questions remained. As she confronted the complexities of her past, she sought one final resolution. Was she ready to speak with her father, much like she had with Alex? To extend understanding at his gravesite became an undeniable call. One sunny afternoon, after weeks of pondering, Sarah set out to the cemetery. Standing at her father's headstone, she reflected on the journey she had traversed. Each twist and turn had led her here, where forgiveness wrapped around her heart like a gentle embrace. "Dad," she whispered, "your story, like mine, is filled with imperfections. I see that now. I release you from my resentment, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary." In that moment, the burdens she had once carried began to dissipate, replaced by a profound sense of freedom. Revitalized, Sarah turned back toward home, her heart unshackled from the past. Each step whispered a promise. Her life belonged to her, shaped by the choices she made moving forward with authenticity and courage. She was ready to love, to write, and to embrace everything life offered with open arms, confident in her identity and potential. Reflecting on her journey, she recognized this ache within her, the yearning for more, had morphed into unyielding strength, allowing her to forge connections, reclaim her creativity, and redefine her legacy. With each letter written, she carved out a space in the world that was uniquely hers, a tapestry of resilience, love, and profound personal achievement. This was how Sarah conquered her story, no longer haunted by the past, but rather emboldened to live fully, knowing she had woven a beautiful new path filled with endless possibilities. So here you are, witnessing the resolution of a profound journey. Don't let your story remain untold. You need to subscribe now to the channel for more exclusive emotional stories that inspire transformation. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Comment your thoughts on Sarah's resolution and share your own experiences. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this powerful conclusion. Remember, true fans of personal overcoming stories understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Don't wait even one more second.